to adjourn to closed session.
I move.
And I'm gonna, okay,
Jen.
second. So Jennifer moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Who was it that seconded?
Steve.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Okay, so go ahead and unmute you guys because we're just going to do roll call. Chris? Chris, I see you on the call.
Looks like he dropped out.
He dropped.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Jennifer.
Present.
Yeah, do you want, you're voting on closed session?
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Yes. Sorry.
Sorry,
I'm
Steve?
gonna find that link.
Aye.
Okay, I'm an aye, and Michael is not on.
Chris is back.
And Chris, how do you vote?
I'm an aye.
To close? Okay, motion carries 4-0-1. We're going to adjourn and meet up in closed session when you guys get there.
Okay.
Okay. I'll find it.
Okay, thanks. a motion to reconvene to open session?
Move.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to do roll call. Chris,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well, and the motion carries 500. So, Pledge of Allegiance. We're still doing this on this, right?
Yep.
Everybody, please stand. You got your flag right there. Please stand. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much.
Here, I'd like to
I need a motion to approve the agenda with the following amendment to pull section 4B4, which is our sunshine proposal for CSEA.
I'll move that.
Well, and the public hearing.
And the public hearing preceding that, yes. Sorry.
I second.
So Chris, I'm going to take the roll call.
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. Announcement of actions taken in closed session. We amended the. We were informed that the CSA had not reported their sunshine amendments and felt it was appropriate to remove ours from the agenda. And we gave, completed the evaluation of the superintendent with discussion of his contract to be adopted today later in this session. Recognition, there's none. I don't have any individuals desiring to address the board. There was no forms turned in ahead of time. With that, I'm going to turn it over to STA. I don't know if we have an STA representative. If we do, I'm going to just ask, let people know that I am going to have to put people on timers today just to keep things moving if need be.
STA's president, Jennifer Pena, is on the line with us, but I think hi, Jennifer. She's here to answer any questions you may have during their presentation.
Okay, because
later on.
Well, I didn't see that they were doing a separate presentation later on.
It's kind of like I think it's reopening, and it's a combined presentation.
Right, but we're not going to be doing the whole thing on that. We've gotten the information. We're not going to be doing a 20-minute presentation later on.
Exactly. She's just here to answer any questions you may have at that time about it.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Jennifer at this time, or we can wait and have that discussion when we talk about reopening? Absent hearing any questions, I'll just keep going. CSEA, do we have anybody from them today? Okay, board member comments. I've got 3 of you on video. You can give me a thumbs up if you want to do board members, or I'll just go through people, give them an option to do boards. Chris?
So I've had the opportunity to run into members of our community at the post office. And when I was just walking around out, and people have stopped me and thanked me for the work that we're doing on the board. Evidently, they're seeing our faces online. I didn't recognize the folks that had stopped.
Can you keep it down?
And they said that they thought that being on the board was harder during the times that we were in. And they appreciated the work that we were doing and the work that the teachers were doing. And so on behalf of the teachers and the folks in the district, I said, thanks. It is a different world that we're living in. but it was really nice to hear that folks are appreciating the work that we're doing.
Okay. Jennifer?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody for having the transition go as it did, and we're looking forward to summer.
Steve?
Yeah, I really appreciate staff at all levels, CSEA, STA, management, unrepresented folks, for weathering this new world that we're in. And it may be extended for all we know soon enough. Fiscally, we are clearly in, for lack of a better word, economic dark times. We're approaching, and we're in them. And far be it from me to say, thank goodness we have a reserve to weather at least year one as it stands today. When I wear my other hat, I complain about reserves when they're too large, but I'm not wearing that hat right now. And that being said, I am relieved that we've been fiscally prudent, even before I was on the board, but certainly since we've been on the board, that we can at least absorb year one of what we're headed into, as it stands today anyways, by using our reserve. And so thank you, everybody, for working towards building that up and saving it for what turned out to be our own unique rainy day for ourselves.
Michael?
I just want to echo what everyone else says. I really appreciate the teachers, the staff, the district staff on everything they've done. I couldn't said it better than what Stephen and Jennifer said. So thank you. And Chris too.
And I'm going to echo a lot of the things that were said. I do want to give special recognition to the folks over at Buena Vista, especially Ms. Pagaran, who's had a very interesting tenure as a principal. Hope you'll be coming back to us for a third year. It is nice that the fiscal sort of responsibility that was started by the board before I came on, to see that pay off now is especially heartwarming to see that we've got some reserves and cash in the bank to get us over. Hopefully, what will not be too long of a time, but unfortunately will probably last longer than we want it to. That being said, I've got no oral or written communication, so we'll go straight into the superintendent report.
Like you guys, I'm just so impressed with the way our district rallied. I mean, tomorrow marks the end of the craziest school year on record in my career. I just want to thank the entire district, from both our entire staff, the teachers and the class club, have been more than, flexible, resilient. Our parents have been asked to do things that they probably in their life never expected. Well, we kind of forget the kids have gone through such trying times. I want to shout out to them that they've been the real heroes to this, in my opinion. Today at Buena Vista, seeing the 110 graduates come up. I mean, I think they kind of get the context of this history, and they have a sense of humor about it. And I'm just really, really proud of them. And I'm not sure what the fall's gonna be like, but I'm thrilled to be part of a team that has shown the resiliency we have so far. So good job, team.
Thank you. Ms. Pagaran?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
In a while. I'm no longer pregnant. So yeah, she's 2.5 months, or two months and a week. So just a week short of the pandemic, if you're keeping track, which is kind of crazy that that's how I can measure it. But we actually had a great day today. We did our promotion. We did a drive-through promotion. We got it approved. We had kids show up in cars and they wore masks, and they went across the stage, and we announced their names, and the families cheered them on, decorated their cars. And we also went over all the awards that they received, and we had quite a turnout of teachers, all wearing gowns. And Eric was there, and Teresa was there, and we had our Bobcat in a gown. And so it was just really fun. It was a good way to do it. And I think we only had 6 students who did not show up today. So pretty impressive. So throughout this whole, pandemic, our teachers have gone above and beyond and being flexible and coming up with ways that work for their students. And our students have done the same. And I think we've had a lot of support from our parents too. And I'd heard a lot of positive feedback, and it's been really uplifting because this could be a time where we get a lot of negative feedback and a negative perspective. But I've seen the opposite. And so I just wanted to shout out to our community. I think they understand what's going on too, but this could have been a lot harder. And it's been something that we're pulling through. And yes, we have a lot of work before the fall because we have a lot of things we have to figure out, but it's been a good transition with all of the different parameters that have been in place. So thank you to all of you guys for all your hard work as well.
Great. Thank you very much. Ms. Sierpinski?
Hi, everybody. I just want to say in front of everyone what a great job Kate did today. It was very special to see those 8th graders get out of those cars and cross that platform and do a wonderful job with their graduation in such an unusual time. And I think Kate did a lot to make it as normal as it could be. And I think it was special for them. So I'm really happy about that because they're special kids, and that made it really nice. So thank you for that. And thank you for taking all the time that you did. And we did, what day is it? Tuesday. Yesterday, we did a 5th grade drive-through. They got their sweatshirts. PTO bought them all beautiful sweatshirts, and they picked up their belongings. And so we did it by teacher. So all through the day, we had our 5th graders come by and say goodbye. We have a banner for them. And we only had 5 5th graders not show up. So I'm really impressed also. Lots of thank yous from the parents, crying kiddos, but it was really beautiful. We had a really good time. And we will have our traditional flag waving parade with correct social distancing and safety precautions on Thursday at 1 o'clock if you guys want to join us. I'm excited about that so we can keep our tradition alive. I'd also like to echo lots of thanks. And I, as Eric, would like to start with our students. I think they have shown grit and all the things we talk about, growth mindset, making mistakes and figuring it out, doing their best, not giving up, being flexible, not just really resilient. And I'm really proud of them. And I'm amazed at our teaching staff at both sites, how quickly they got it together and started teaching without any complaining at all. If they complained, they didn't tell me. To me, it's an amazing thing to have happen, to get it together and go that way. We have such a wonderful community of educators, and I am so proud to work with them. Just amazing, always about the kids. And so I thank them for that. I agree with the classified staff, everybody that works for Spreckels. When we did our yesterday with the 5th grade, we had 2 noon duty people come and help because they wanted to, and they wanted to see the kids for their last time. And they just volunteered the whole darn day. So that's what happens at Spreckels all the time. So I'm proud to be a member of the team, and I'm proud to have a really solid board that really cares about our students and our staff. And I'm really proud to work with the management team I work with also. So thank you all. I really believe that no matter how it falls out, and however we have to get through it, that we will. And we'll get to the other side. So thank you for all your support and your help.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Do we have anybody for SUAF or PTO?
I have a quick update. So as you know, the foundation's big fundraiser, the Hoedown, was canceled due to COVID. They're still trying to be creative to find ways to make some money. We're working with them. They have many class projects and other auction items that weren't able to be sold. So we're going to try to figure out how to do a virtual, silent auction in the next month or so. So if you were disappointed you couldn't spend money at the Hoedown,
Always.
I have an opportunity coming your way in about a month. So they're great. We're going to be setting things up in the auditorium, doing some videos, and then parents can bid online.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's go right into the May 31st fund to balance report.
Oh, Peter, I just wanted to say I was supposed to say that
Oh, sorry.
too, but Eric took my thunder. So,
Sorry, I didn't know you knew it.
yeah. So SUF is they'll be sending out an email soon. They told me to tell you. So, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Michael.
You're in the know. Sorry.
So I'm going to start sharing. Can everybody see this document?
Yep. Now.
Yes.
Okay. So we're just going to look very quickly at the fund balance summary. We did experience another month. We are looking at this actual column that expenditures outpaced the revenue by a mere, it's not bad, $300,000. We're not surprised by that. All the transfers coming from the county have been off their regular schedule for lots of reasons, the staffing issues. And then we also know that the remainder or a fair portion of this balance of revenue limit will be deferred into July. So we have one month left, but on the expenditure side, the good news is that we're tracking very well with our budgeted level of expenditures.
So are we anticipating a budget shortfall at the end of this fiscal year? And if so, how much?
We are not anticipating a shortfall. We are anticipating a lag in receipt of revenue by June 30. And what we'll do is we'll set up a receivable. So in the end, our expenditures will should be very closely tied to the budget, with the exception of some expenditure levels not being met, which will actually support some growth in our reserve. We know our electricity bills, for example, have been down. Our sub costs are down. We're buying less supplies. So we're actually anticipating a little bit of growth. I track it frequently, and I'm hoping it's in the neighborhood of a couple of $100,000 to add to our reserve to help get us through the coming months.
Okay. I guess my question is, in the delay or the deferral in receivables, is that going to impact, I don't know if I'm saying the words right, like the positive attestations we get for our budget each year, or is that an issue in terms of us potentially having a negative balance budget? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, it does. This year will not close with deficit spending.
Okay.
It will impact our cash flow.
Okay.
But we'll talk more about that when we get to the budget presentation. I have one particular slide we can focus on out of the whole large 100-page document that will sort of speak to that cash flow issue.
Okay. Does anybody else have questions on this page? Okay. Facilities update.
So our custodial and maintenance staff have returned to work. It's been a couple of weeks now. They're doing a staggered schedule, and we'll probably come back on a full-time basis next week once we get all of the teachers completely checked out. We've staggered it just to minimize, to practice social distancing, obviously. But by Friday, we should have all of the teaching staff checked out for summer, and we'll get full on into our summer cleaning.
Okay. Class configuration.
So this is as of last Friday, and there hasn't been much change. If you look at our total, the numbers are actually exactly the same as a week ago. May 29th, we were at 968, and May 18th, we were at 968. So really the hold is in the inner districts up in the kindergarten area. You can see at this point, we have 63 kinders expected to arrive, and we have 28 on the inter district list that have been released from their home district, but we have not accepted them yet. We're waiting for decisions to be made with our reopening plan. So this represents that class 5 app. Number 5 actually represents one of the current vacancies we have. And Eric, do you want to talk more about the process we're going through with these interdistricts?
Yeah, our registrar, Jennifer Pollack, reached out to every kindergartner, whether interdistrict or interdistrict, just to confirm that they are coming. So we're comfortable knowing that we have that 4th cohort when we're ready. But again, I would predict we will take them and have the 4th cohort because it's good for us long term. But we kind of want to wait to see what reopening looks like.
Okay. Yeah, I would have a concern about starting a cohort of kinder with just 3 classes that we're looking to then move through the next 8 years.
No, I agree. And I was reassured when Jennifer said that all but like 2 are still want to come. So that was the first step. And then that we'll probably start taking them in the next few weeks, if that jives with our plan that we'll talk about tonight.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. COVID-19 operations written report.
Last month, I mentioned that the governor passed an executive order that pretty much froze the LCAP or postponed it until December of next year. In its place, we were required to fill out this report. Basically, this is like, what did your district do during the closure? Instructionally, feeding kids. There's a daycare component there. So basically, this is the new required document that goes along with the budget for this year. It's pretty straightforward stuff that I've shared with you throughout the last few meetings. Any questions?
No, go ahead and keep going. It looks like it was
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and filling it out. I mean, again, that sense of pride that we really did a good job with our unpaid students and everybody, all the students together as well. Providing services hard to do.
Right. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll go into the joint STA and Spreckels Union School District reopening plan survey.
So Veronica and I have been meeting with both unions on a weekly basis. And I sent out surveys and STA sent out their own. For the most part, I think the results are similar. The comments are similar. I'm going to go through ours, and then I think you've been already given the video narration of theirs. But basically, yeah, reopening the school is not going to look the same. And I think people need to accept that because normal isn't allowed under the current state and local orders. We basically have to figure out a way to have half the kids there at one with enhanced health and safety, guidelines. So basically we asked 3 groups. We asked parents, and then I asked the 2 different teaching staffs, Buena Vista and Spreckels, separately, because again, depending on their site and their interaction with kids and the developmental needs of kids at those levels, I expected different results, which we got. One thing I'd like to point out is normally when I send out a survey, I get about 120 to 100, maybe 200 responses. As you could tell here, people are passionate about responding. And given the 3 scenarios, so the 3 scenarios basically, there's a hybrid scenario. One would be an AM PM model, one would be an every other day model, and then the third is strictly online, continuing what we're doing now into the fall. These are the results. The parents, for the most part, preferred an AM PM model. You want to slide up? The Spreckels teachers, again, I was able to finally get 22 out of 20, so it's a very full survey response. They kind of mirrored the parents. They really want that daily face-to-face with teachers, which I'm hoping we can create at least one option for that. The Buena Vista teachers if we go to the next one, we're a little different. They preferred, it rolls up, 15 out of 18 responded, but half of them would like to continue online. And I think in the SDA's survey results, you could see that the difference between the two sites is that the middle school teachers will have many more student-teacher exposures a day, and that's concerning, legitimately so. So basically, this is just to get feedback from the parents and the teachers. It's not saying that we'll go with either of these models. What we have to do is basically put together a plan as a district that gets approved at the county and the state level. The frustration, I meet with all the other county superintendents once a week. Today, 3, and there's a frustration because we have many more questions than answers. And there's a lot of logistical questions about how many kids can be on site, how many could be in a cohort, what are the required safety checks before we actually finalize a plan. So as we get that more and more information, we're going to go ahead and put together a reopening plan. I would hope that it has options. There are many parents, not many, but there's definitely a very vocal minority of perhaps 10, 15% that really want to continue online learning. I would like to be able to offer that strand as well as a hybrid that gives, face-to-face every day. So primary concerns voiced by all groups. These surveys are very interesting, and the comments where I think the whole management team had a chance to look at them, but the health and safety concerns ranged from, I'm worried about my kid being exposed, to the other side is basically saying, I don't want a teacher to wear a mask and freak out my kid. So it went through the entire spectrum. Child care is a huge factor for both staff and parents. The social emotional health. The kids have been removed from their teachers for a very long time. Going back to a classroom that has space and a teacher in a mask for many parents is obviously not preferred. Quality of instruction and academic loss. A lot of parents are trying to weigh the two. We understand COVID, but we also long-term are worried about the academic loss. And then the teacher-student relationships. The new normal is going to be tough on building those relationships that we know are so important. So that's where we're at. The next steps will be, if they roll it up. The state was supposed to come out with guidelines on Friday about reopening schools. We've already seen them for reopening churches and reopening, hair salons. So we're hoping that we will have a very clear direction in the next few weeks. Based on that information, we'll put together some scenarios to bring to you probably in early July for approval. But again, there's so many questions that need answers. Can we have 12 kids in a class, 15 in a class? Depending on the number, the scenario will change. What do, the health checks look like? As of today, I was relieved because a lot of the major districts that are already putting out, like Second County just put out their reopening plan, and they're talking about doing I'm sorry? No. They're talking about doing self-health checks at home, which really would relieve us, as kids enter school. Depending on what we do, transportation, health service might be changed a little bit. Can we use those employees to do other things like, disinfect or help with the health checks? So all these questions will be answered hopefully in the next month or so. Back to you in July. Again, I'm constantly talking to the other superintendents. We're not in this alone, not by the county or the state. And nobody, I think, in the county wants to go rogue. So we're hopefully going to adopt some uniform first steps to present, because I think that's going to be important, sharing with the parents. That was a lot. Any questions?
No, thank you. So I'm going to go through, I imagine board members are going to have questions. Let me just call in order, just for ease of keeping the conversation going and make sure everybody has a chance to ask questions. So kind of keeping the same order. Chris?
I don't have as many questions as I'm a consultant with the CSU, California State University, as we look about reopening. And one of the things that's winding its way through the court system now is a student at Liberty University who died of COVID-19. And the impact on that court case will have implications for educational institutions all the way through. The lawyer that we talked to at the CSU system kept bringing up the word foreseeable. You know, is it foreseeable that somebody could get COVID-19 in any of the educational situations that we set up? And it will be, I mean, this is much too weak a word, but it'll be interesting to see how that court case gets decided and how much liability a university can be held. I think there's going to be a lot of considerations that are going to come through that may change the way that we think about this. If a staff member gets the disease and dies, or if a student gets the disease and dies, as in this case, just looking at what that brings to the recommendations that we get from different agencies, I think will be important. And then I also wanted to say to the teachers that I really appreciated their survey and the care that they took in the analysis. I think there's a lot of great points in there, and I just wanted to reassure them that this board is committed to taking those considerations into account as we move forward. And I would hope that they would make that survey and their survey results, that presentation, available to other folks. I know it's in the board packet, but I'm not sure that many people will dig through a board packet to find something like that. And getting that information out, I think, will be helpful for us as we move forward.
Great. Thank you. Jennifer?
Yeah, just the top things that come to my mind is I was just reading through the chancellor's address to the CSUs and the junior colleges about what provisions we need to make to have students in the classroom, and all of the added, I mean, I'm so, like you were saying earlier, I'm so glad that we're fiscally responsible, because I know that we'll have added things that we have to pay for, right? We have things that added expenses is what I mean to say. And I trust that we will take into account how much time and effort it takes to put classes online as well as instruction direct, right? Like, that's a lot of work. And so I just want to recognize that it is a lot of an ask, and I'm glad that we have a good team.
Thank you. Steve?
Great presentation, STA staff. Appreciate it. No, we're definitely not alone in this. And I want to reemphasize something that the superintendent had mentioned, and that is that it would be, if we are even able to meet with restrictions, students contact on our campuses, we really need to be sure that we are offering a robust as possible online distance learning option for those that aren't comfortable sending students to school, understandably so. And otherwise, we're at risk of losing them to other programs, charters online, and that would be a fiscal crisis for us, and even possibly in the middle of a school year, let alone moving into the following year. So we really need to try to hang on to folks and be as accommodating students and their parents, be as accommodating as possible to offer the online option should we do try to bring students on board to our campuses. So that's critical in this work that has to be done in a relatively short period of time.
Michael?
Yeah, I'll echo what everyone else has said, and I'll also add that we have to think carefully about the value added for each of these options as we move forward. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah. I think this is a really difficult situation that we clearly are not going to be able to decide in and of ourselves. It's going to be part and parcel on what stage on the reopening we are. having just recently, gotten to advanced stage 2 as a county. I think we might make it to stage 3 by the time we open. I doubt that we're going to see stage 4 during 2020, depending on what happens in the fall. I think that there is a lot of value in trying to get face-to-face class time with kids. I think there's a lot of legitimate fears and concerns about what infections means and what cases mean and what and how high risk contacts are and how the virus moves through communities. I think it's going to be a moving target throughout the time. I think we might end up starting the school year in one way and trying to then hit the moving target in terms of adjusting how we're doing education based on where we are on sheltering in place recommendations. So you're right, it's going to be a heavy lift from everybody, from the board down to everyone on the staff and parents. It's going to be impacting everyone. And it's one that hits a lot of us really hard, where you're trying to balance, trying to educate kids as best you can while keeping everybody, kids and staff and teachers and the community safe. And there is no easy answer, and I wish I had it. That being said, it was really nice to see where people are at this point in time. Part of me wonders, as we get closer to the time period, is it worth putting the questions out again and redoing the surveys? But we'll see. It's going to be it's going to be decisions we're going to have to make. Certainly not alone, but in conjunction with what's happening in the rest of the county, if not the whole state, and likely to be coming on from recommendations at a statewide level. Does anybody else have anything they want to add from the board? Any other board members? I'm seeing shaking heads. Okay, thank you guys very much. I know it's, and sorry, the one last thing I do want to say, Jennifer said it, I think it is going to cost more. So no matter what we're doing, we're going to be, it's going to be a costly school year.
STS President Jennifer Pena is out there.
Eric, she was available. Sorry, I do want to keep this just from a being able to, from a point of order standpoint. I've gotten in trouble for not being point of orders. She was available for questions,
Okay.
and if the board had it. Sorry, Jennifer. Note that I don't want to hear from you, but I'm trying to be cognizant on trying to do things the right way, especially since we have it. The presentation you gave was really good, very informative, and very helpful to me as a board member, and it sounds like it was to the other board members as well. But from a standpoint, does any board members have any questions specifically for Jennifer? Okay. There being none, we're going to move on to the, I need a motion to adjourn to, sorry, I need a motion to adjourn to public hearing regarding the budget.
I'll move that, Peter.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Chris?
Chris seconds.
You're an aye now.
Oh, hi.
Sorry. Jennifer?
Aye.
Steve?
I'm an aye.
Michael?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 5-0. We're now in public hearing regarding the budget imbalance, including balances in excess of minimum reserves. Any public questions? There being none, I now need a motion to adjourn from public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Chris?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 5-0. I need a motion to approve the agreement regarding 2020 to 2021 special education programs and transportation.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, Chris?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. Sorry, I didn't ask for a discussion on this one. It seemed pretty straightforward. I need a motion to approve approve the Spreckels School Plan for Student Achievement.
I'll move it.
Second.
And discussion. Veronica or Eric?
I think
I'm sorry, these are site specific. So is this Buena Vista or is this Spreckels?
this is Spreckels. It's me.
Okay.
Let me put myself back on. I just wanted to share that this is the plan for the school year that'll be over on Thursday. And I feel really positive about all the things that were in the plan and how we implemented them, from the intervention plan to the support for our English learners to our enrichment program and our parent involvement. I think it all went really, really well this year, but then we had to stop before the third trimester, so some of the things could not be completed. And when we're looking at data, that gets in the way as far as what we were able to accomplish as far as our state test scores and our LPAC scores for our English learners and things like that. But until then, I think it had been a very successful year with all the implementation that was on the plan. Do you have any questions specific for me?
I do not. Does anybody else?
No, it seemed very straightforward. Thanks, Teresa.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll call the vote. Chris?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. I need a motion to approve the Buena Vista plan for student achievement.
I will move.
Second.
Okay. Kate, you're up.
Can you see me? So Eric helped me out on this one because I was actually on my maternity leave when this was actually coming up. But basically throughout the year, as Teresa said, we were following the LCAP and making sure that our funds were appropriate and they were going through, and that we were making measurable goals and working towards improvement of our campus. And so we had a lot of input from our school site council and teachers and parents. So pretty straightforward. I don't know if you guys have any questions on mine as well.
Does anybody have questions, comments, concerns?
Nope. Thank you, Kate and Eric. Eric, Kate.
Thank you, Eric.
My pleasure. Yeah. Kate came back from maternity leave quickly, so thank you, Kate.
Okay, so Chris?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. So curriculum special education program update. We're skipping 4B4. So we're going straight to page 5, section 5A, A1 special education program update.
Right. At the last meeting, Dr. Chris had asked a question about special ed during COVID, which is a very, very good question because of all the programs that are being given flexibility and a hold harmless status, special ed isn't. So Tammy, I think, could take it from here. Tammy?
Yeah. So I'm really, it's true we haven't had the amount of flexibility that the other gen ed programs have had. So I'm thrilled with how much the SPED team has leaned in and really worked in these crazy circumstances. During closure, we've had 87% participation from students in special education with distance learning. Some of the kids are really thriving in distance learning, and some of the kids are really struggling. And what we're seeing is the systems that are in place to support a student are especially important during distance learning. So some of our kids are having a hard time, and the teachers are very excited at the possibility of any kind of hybrid program in the fall where we would be able to welcome students back in person. Having said that, the students and the teachers have embraced a lot of creative use of technology, paper packets, technology, phone calls. The special ed paraprofessionals have been willing to be repurposed in flexible ways, and the team has really come together and rolled up their sleeves to work towards accessibility and equality for our students during distance learning. It's a heavy lift.
It is a real heavy lift.
Tammy, I asked for this update, and thank you so much for all that you're doing, and all that your teachers are doing with you. I have no doubt about the skill and the effectiveness of any of the educators that are working in our district. I just think from a liability standpoint, special ed during COVID-19, because each case is a special case and each case can change based on so many factors in a given day, technology, all of the things that go into being special ed. This is just one that I think we ought to keep an eye on as a board, and get regular updates from Tammy, and to hear if there are places where she's pulling out her hair. We need to know about that, and the board ought to be prepared to take some action. So that's why I asked the report. Yeah.
I appreciate the support a great deal. It's a little bit like nailing Jell-O to a tree some days, but the team that we have supporting us in special ed, and also the management team and the board, everybody is doing everything in their power to support our most challenged learners.
Yeah.
But if I think of something, I'll let you know. Massages all around.
Well, thank you. Hold on one second. I may have, I got a note that I may have jumped over the budget, but I don't see an item in the agenda that we adopted a budget. Did I miss something going forward through here? Sorry. Steve, you usually...
I'm sorry, 4-6, Veronica had a presentation to show you what the next 3 years might look like in this tough times.
I don't see a 4.6 in the version that I got.
No 4.5, nor 4.6, just 4.4, and we pulled that.
I got 4.4.
It's the bottom of page 4, top of page.
Top of page 4. Top of page 4 didn't have a vote. Didn't have a vote. That was the to adjourn from public hearing. There was no vote in here.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's page 3, presentation of the budget, including balances and excess.
We voted on that.
Actually, if I could just clarify it, there is no vote on this public hearing budget. This is the presentation of the draft budget. So we present it, we have whatever direction y'all may want to give in terms of changing anything before we adopt on June 16th. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pleased that you don't need any details and trust that it's a good document, and we can move on, Peter, or there's
no. This was the section, the page 97 that you talked about in that email. And it's like page 200 and something here.
Correct.
Sorry, I will beg the board's forgiveness. Sorry. It's part of the problems when we're doing it online. So I get out of the cadence of when we're supposed to have more discussion on things, and I do think that's an important discussion for us to have.
Yeah, I didn't catch it either. It's actually 4A6. We went ahead to the public hearing.
We did the public hearing, but we didn't do the discussion. And I was like, I know there's something in here I'm missing. And we usually have once we're in the public hearing, we have the discussion before we vote to go to public hearing, and I just skipped that, and I realized I got through that. So I'm going to beg the board's indulgence. we can either reopen the public hearing or we can have the discussion now. Does this get us in trouble programmatically?
I just wanted to say something on the special education update before, so just to close
Yes,
that.
please.
And
Yes,
that
please.
I don't know, public school districts across the country receive no help from the Federal Department of Education or Secretary of Education. And I'm not sure what the intent was by providing no assistance or relief or guidance for that matter, other than status quo, which is ridiculous. But I don't know if it's the intent. Can't assume that, but it's almost as if that the U.S. Department of Education wants to tie public schools up into litigation and fiscal crisis for litigation, due to litigation, when we're already struggling fiscally for obvious reasons. That's unfortunate, and I'll get off my soapbox on that.
Okay. No, thank you. I think that's important to acknowledge. From a procedural standpoint, do we need to reopen to public meeting to have a discussion about the budget right now, or can we get updated here in the agenda?
Peter, we can, because it's just an information item, the discussion of the budget is not to take place in the public hearing. The public hearing is only if there's a member of the public that wants to make a comment about the budget,
Okay.
and that really should have been provided through some kind of notification from someone.
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you for keeping me straight. Let's take a moment now with unanimous consent. I see nods that let's get an update on the budget because I think this is an important issue for us.
So I'll make this very brief. There's 3 pages out of the entire document that I'd like to focus on, and this is the first one. And if we look at row C, net increase or decrease in fund balance, this represents the current budget year, the 2021, the upcoming school year. This is the shortfall, $356,000 going into the school year. If we do nothing in the 2 subsequent years, you can see how it compounds in terms of a reduction in revenue from the state. By year 2, we're $600,000. By year 3, we're nearly $1 million. So that's a status quo plan. So if we go to the next page, I want to show you what happens with our reserves in year 1. We spoke a little earlier about having the reserve to get us through the shortfall. So what I did was I kept the last reserve assignment list in this 2019-22 interim column. And you can see where we had all of these activities that I've highlighted in purple that we had funds assigned. For example, the BD field improvement, we had $250,000. Well, I've taken that out. So all the purples represents the things that I've taken out from the second interim projection to help us get to this shortfall. And though it's very sad to see these things go, it's also fantastic to see that we had these unrestricted dollars to get us through this moment in time. The last 3 items on this page represent the cash deferral, the impact to the deferrals of revenues to cash. So just those actions alone, again, proposed in the governor's May revise, this could change, but we're developing the budget based on the revise. We're needing about 1.2 million in cash just to get through those recommendations. And then this is the last page I want to share, and this is to show the first year reduction in revenue. It's almost $700,000. And when I was developing the budget, Eric and the management team, we talked about trying to get to, we couldn't cut $700,000 of the program in 1 year. It's just impossible to do that. So we targeted a third of the total loss in revenue, and with a goal of trying to get to $227,000 in year 1, and then put the rest of the shortfall in the reserve. And so these items, rows 7 through 14, 14, 14, you see we have 3 14s, but those things are out of the budget. We removed art, we removed enrichment, reduced professional development, and on it goes. The biggest support really came through the governor's May revise by reducing STRS and PERS statutory benefits. That was the biggest piece of it. So if our target was 227, we got to 160, so we're still with a $67-ish thousand shortfall. And then this last section is just suggestions for reductions. None of these are, we've made no decisions. I just wanted to put values on them so we could start to maybe prioritize. If we didn't hire that kinder, that's 100,000. But we also know that that's counter to our goal of continuing to grow. If we freeze the 5th bus driver position, there's 38 there. If we take a 1% across the board pay cut for all groups, I mean, that gets us almost everything we need if, again, our target is the first third. So they're just ideas. I'd welcome any kind of conversation. If you have anything you want to give clear direction on for me to modify the budget before we come back to adopt on the 16th, we can do that as well.
The one thing that comes clear to me is, if looking at the recommendations, especially if we're doing AM PM, is I think reducing transportation is not it's not going to happen. It's going to be increasing transportation in terms of having to get sort of daytime or midday routes. So. Other board members' concerns or comments? Yes, Steve.
Was staff, Peter, is staff asking for other suggestion potential reductions, and then they can cost them out? Or is this not the time for that?
No, this is informational. So I think as part of an informational discussion, giving if you see an area that's of interest to you or concern and you wanted to comment on, I think that's appropriate for informational. This is not, there's no decisions being made.
Right. The governor hasn't authorized furloughs yet, but I suspect that'll happen pretty soon. What would maybe add to this list the cost of one furlough day to all employee groups, including the pension costs for that one day? I'd be interested in seeing what that is.
Thank you. I think it's unpleasant, but I think we need to start thinking creatively. But good idea, Steve. Thank you. Other?
Yeah, Veronica, is the plus minus on the kindergarten teacher in here? I know you said we could take out that 4th teacher, but wouldn't there be additional revenue also if we opened up that class? And is that reflected in here anywhere?
Chris, with what we don't know, firstly, the cost of that teacher is currently in this budget. So we have put the expenditure for the teacher. The revenue that we're building this budget on is the current year's revenue, because we believe we're going to be able to use the prior year if next year's is lower. So in year one, that wouldn't impact this. By year 2, that's when you would see it.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Veronica or ideas, concerns? Okay, no, thank you for presenting, Veronica. I'm sorry to have gotten it out of order. Let's go forward to, there's nothing for personnel, nothing for, committee updates.
Nothing on the old committees. One of the items in the future, when it comes to reopening, next steps was to kind of pull together all these groups that we've been talking to separately. Again, Frank and I have met with both unions on a weekly basis, but I'd like to pull them together. I've had some parents reach out, they'd like to be represented. And I'm not sure if any board member would like to be part of that group. Let me know on the side, but that would be the next committee, probably the most important committee going forward in the next few months.
I think that's a great idea. I don't hear anybody saying it's a terrible idea, so I think you've got direction to go ahead and look get that set up, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you.
I need a motion to approve by roll call vote the final read on BP 6157 distance learning.
I'll move that, Peter.
Second.
Any discussion? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, Chris,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries 500. I need a motion to approve final read regarding working remotely.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any comments, questions, or concerns? Again, seem pretty straightforward. I don't see anybody raising hands. Okay, Chris,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. I need a motion to schedule a special board meeting in July. I think it's definitely going to be needed.
Yeah, I'll move that, and we'll get to our calendars once it's seconded.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay.
A date to close out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does the July 7th look? It's the first Tuesday of July.
Works for me.
Works for me.
Peter, just to clarify, July 7th is what would be the regular July meeting, which we typically cancel. So
Right.
we were to hold that July meeting on the 7th and then schedule a second one as well.
Oh, we're looking to do a second meeting in July. I'm sorry, because I thought this was to replace the regular the one we usually cancel. That we were canceling that one.
Well, we usually at this meeting would cancel it, but I think that we might need one. If we just have one in July, then that puts us to the next one being, a week before school might start. If we make progress at the July 7th, maybe we could cancel the special one if we hold it later in July.
Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. I misunderstood the intent. I thought I'm just so used to canceling that one. I forgot that we always go through the process of canceling it. So, okay, so you're looking to maybe do it one of the last 2 weeks of July?
Correct.
Okay. I'll entertain any suggestions. I'm actually committed to being out of town the last 2 weeks of July. I can do remotely, but my preference, if we can, I'd like to have a discussion on the possibility of having our meetings in person with social distancing guidelines and perhaps live streaming that in a way that's consistent with Brown Act. I think that might just help us if we can have discussions in a way. I've been at some meetings where, given the size of the room, we can perhaps spread out farther and be in a socially distant but present in the same way. But if we do it socially distant, I can do a later one in July if we do remote.
So Peter, I'm open. What do you suggest?
Well, then let's give them time. Maybe day the 28th.
That works fine for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I can make that work.
All right. So let's tentatively do the 28th. And same time.
Yes. 6:30.
6:30. Okay. So all those sorry, Chris. I'm calling the vote now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. I need a motion to ratify the superintendent's contract.
Well, I'll move it.
Second.
And do we have any further discussion?
Just to say that this has been as challenging a year for all the educational staff, but our leadership, leading when you don't know where you're going and what's going to happen to you. It's like going across the Old West in a covered wagon. And I think Eric really handled it well. So
I second that. Thank you. Well said.
Thank you.
So we'll start the vote. Chris?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Michael?
I
I'm an aye as well. And the motion carries 500.
I greatly appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. I think that unfortunately the fund's just getting started. I need a motion to approve the consent items unless anybody wants to bring anything out.
I do not. I'll move it.
Second.
Chris?
Aye.
Jennifer?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Michael?
I
And I'm an aye as well. Future agenda items, just a reminder, we've got a special meeting June 16th at 5:30 for budget. That's going to be a quick meeting. Do we want to add anything to that meeting? I don't know how other board members feel about that. I think I would be open to a COVID-19. I mean, as much as I know none of us like meeting, and especially the second one, I think right now getting an update on the latest in terms of reopening and COVID, even if it's brief, nothing's changed since we last met, would be appreciated from the board.
I agree.
Okay. So it was actually on the agenda, school reopening plan, so it's there. Sorry, my bad. I realized as soon as I said that, oh wait, it's on the agenda. So yeah, school reopening plan just is going to be a standing item until we go. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Well, if we don't get to see the baby tonight, Kate, I want to see this baby at the next meeting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. At least pictures.
Would it be too premature to see the cost of one furlough day, or I guess it could wait until next month, and it's not going to impact this budget adoption?
No, I can do that. I've actually done some calculations already.
I'm sure you have.
Would you like to see my calculations?
Not right
Yeah.
now. No.
No, I'll bring some. I mean, there's also we may adopt a budget the day after the state adopts. So we may be bring a revision in July. But yes, that's not a hard calculation. I'll get it figured out.
Great, thank you. That would be great. Does anybody else? Oh yes, thank you. Yay!
Future educator in the making.
Okay, that is one very cute baby.
I'm jealous about the hair.
I know.
Hey, hair's overrated. Hair's overrated.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks, Kate.
And at this point, I think I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I guess I'll move that.
Chris.
Aye.
Jennifer.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you all very much. Again, thank you again to staff. Thank you to teachers. Thank you to our administrators for doing such a great job in difficult times. I will see everybody later this month.